So admit all. Okay. Morning.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. We'll keep it in English for a while.
Hello.
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 Roman.
Hey, Michael. Great to see you.
Who else is here?
Hello, everyone.
Nice to see you all. Well, we have Michael here, and I just will say like few words, and then we'll start. And I hope everything will be fine. Let's just please keep it simple, respect each other, do not interrupt each other, and in case you want to say something, just raise your hand on camera, or you can right click and there is
You know what we can do also? Oh, gallery view. There we go. I see everyone. All right, why don't you all introduce yourselves? Two of you I already know. Maybe three, depends. Depends if you guys have grown beards or shaved your heads or stuff like that. All right, so obviously I know Ilya, and this is Eric Brauer. That's because I'm on my son's Zoom. So you can call me Eric if you want, but
keep it fun.
I'm actually Michael. Okay, and then to the right of me, wow, writing it in Russian is going to be difficult for me because I'm going to really butcher your name. To me, that sounds like so I don't think that'll work.
Let's just start from
let's see.
Andrei. 311.
Can you? Is it possible to change?
I try to change. Sorry.
Okay. But who are you?
I'm a sound engineer and working here. You see in my back the big orchestra studio, and I work on the 9000 console. I know your favorite. And we have two studios here. It's Mosfilm, so it calls Mosfilm Studio, and we're recording some orchestras and cinema music and rock music and jazz and so on, many different genres. And I'm happy to be here because I can record different music. It's very important, I think. And it's for me, I'm very happy being here and seeing you. Thank you, Ilya, to join.
And what is your name?
My name is Andrew. My name is Andrew.
Oh, Andrew.
My second name is Levin, Andrei Levin.
Okay.
I tried to change my profile, sorry.
That's okay. I know that you're Andrew and not that other, butchered name that I would have embarrassed you with. Okay, and then we've got Roman, my old buddy Roman over here, who's brought me great vodka and a little Russian hat. I was arrested, put in jail for a year because they thought I was a spy. So thank you very much, Roman. That was really cool.
You're welcome.
Big hat. They found this special little chip inside. Obviously, you were thinking that somebody was going to grab my hat and, leave with. No, I'm just kidding.
We're checking on the information.
You probably got agents listening in right now going, "Oh, Roman, go to his house right now."
Yeah, you can't imagine how many stars I have in Russia for spreading all these hats and vodka.
Tattooed on you?
Yeah.
Welcome, Roman. And look at you. I've forgotten your name, but I recognize your face.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Well, I see you. I know you. What is your name again? I've forgotten.
My name is Dasha.
Dasha. That's it.
Nice to meet you, Michael.
Dasha.
Let's keep on moving.
Came to New York. You came to visit me at Electric Lady, right?
Yes. 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yes.
3 or 4?
3. 2017.
Wow, time passes. I'm long gone from Electric Lady since then.
Yeah.
Great. So is there any particular things you want to cover, Dasha, while we're online here? Any interests or anything that you want to cover in specifically?
What? Can you repeat, please?
Since we're going to be here for like an hour and a half, are there anything in particular, anything on your mind that you want to ask me, or you have certain ideas?
I want to listen I want to listen to you.
Okay.
That will be great. Yes.
That's good enough. I'll find a comic book and I'll just read from a comic book, or
And we'll all go to sleep.
Okay, and then there's no names here, so I guess we'll go down one more. You in the dark, long hair. I'm pointing at you, but you wouldn't know that because everybody thinks I'm pointing at them. You're right below Ilya. So that's it. That's you. Yep.
Hello, Michael. Hello, everybody. My name is Artyom. I'm a freelance sound engineer. Big fan of your work, Michael, and big fan of your approach, multibus and stuff like that. Yeah.
And it's Artyom as a, how do you spell that?
Artyom.
Yeah, spell it for me.
Artyom.
It's ARTEOM. Like Artyom.
Got it. Artyom. Artyom.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Roman.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Now the names are popping up. Okay, and next Artyom is let's see, what do you've got like a kind of a gray shirt, t-shirt. You just raised your microphone a little bit.
It's me, no?
Vova.
No,
Oh,
it's that. There you go.
Yeah,
Vladimir.
glad to see you. Yeah, it's me. Thank you. Yeah, first of all, thank you to Ilya and Michael for gathering us. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Yeah, and hope we will have a great talk. Yeah, and we're open to listen to the wisest, Mr. Michael.
Well, the whole thank you. The whole thing about what I teach, and Roman has known this, is that in the first day before I don't even go into the studio the first day, because I want to talk about your mental preparation, because without that, the technical is just so unimportant. You can't, the technical is supposed to be a reflection of your thoughts. So if your thoughts aren't there, what good does it do that you have the best equipment, the best everything, right? It means nothing. You put a monkey in a room, in my room with all the gear, what are you going to get? You're going to get a lot of shit everywhere. And, and that's about it. And maybe if he's lucky, he's going to get something going on, but it's not about it's never been about the gear. It's never been about the toy. It's about the more creative you are, the better you have to project and do a song. When you think about Billie Eilish, who won everything, right? Best engineer, best mastering, best songs, best record, everything. Where was it done? In her bedroom, in bed, on a laptop, right? So what's that about? That's
Joy.
reality, because it's all about what was in here. They knew what they had. It wasn't a limitation to them. It's what they had. And they made great sounding records. And not only was it great, but it won Best Engineer. So that, that says it all. That is what we're talking about, and that's what I always felt is so, so important. So, that's kind of in the direction I want to go in, and just keep refreshing your mind about that. All right. So anyway, let's continue. Igor, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, first of all, I wanted to thank you for sharing your knowledge, your wisdom with us. I watched the last stream of Ilya with you, and the things you said. You are becoming not only the engineering guru, which you obviously are, but you are becoming like lifestyle guru for me. So thank you very much for the wisdom you share. And I just hope to, learn something more about your approach today, general
Great.
approach.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Alexei.
Hello.
Hey,
I'm Alexei, and I'm studying sound engineering from Ilya. Today I'm here to, learn something new from you, Michael. Thank you. I think that's my introducing all.
Cool. Well, you'll learn something new. It'll probably be more about mental than it is technical. I don't spend much time on technical, as Roman can attest. When I had to finally teach the actual technical end of the Brauer, I got really grumpy. I hate having to do this, but okay, this is how you fly this plane. You plug this in and turn the engine on, and then you watch the wings, and okay, everybody on, okay. And I was like, next. But we'll get through it. Pavel, welcome.
Hello, my name is Paul. You can name me Paul. I'm like Alex, studying sound engineering, and thank you a lot for a chance to hear what you say and to maybe ask some questions if we have time. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I want to answer all your questions. We're going to get to questions pretty quickly. So welcome. And it's, I don't think I can read that. It says, I doubt it is, Sepram? No.
Sergey.
The beard. You got a great beard. You got the best beard in the group here. What is your name?
Hello, Michael. Hello, everybody. My name is Sergey.
Oh, you have to, can you turn your mic up a little bit?
Yeah, my name is Sergey. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but I'm going to have to write it down because I can't pronounce that. Say it one more time.
It's Sergey. S-E-R-E-G.
Oh, okay.
Sergey.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
I'm sorry.
I'm Ilya's assistant, and I'm very honored to be a part of this conversation today. Thanks for having your time and joining this conversation.
Oh, you're very welcome. And if you could find a way to turn your mic up, I think we'd all be grateful because you sound like you're far away.
Sorry.
So work on that while we get to Jacob. Hey, Jacob.
Hi, Michael. Hi, guys. Thank you all for being here. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yep, I hear you.
So my name is Jacob. I'm working in pretty big recording studio in Moscow. Mostly do some orchestral and classical works, such as piano recording and small orchestra and strings recording. That's all for now.
Okay, cool. Andrea.
Hi, my name is Andrei.
Andrei.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I can show you a focus. I'm in the same room with Roman.
Very funny.
I'm in St. Petersburg now. I'm working mostly with pop rock music. What can I say about me? I don't know.
It's okay.
Recording engineer.
You're here. Cool. Well, welcome. And it's a Russian, so I don't know how to pronounce your name. What is your name? the other beautiful lady in this group?
My name is Diana.
Diana. Well, that's a lot easier than what I was seeing. Okay, great.
Happy to be here. Happy to see all my colleagues. Thank you for your time. I'm a mastering engineer.
You're a mastering engineer?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And she masters great. Yeah.
Very good sound engineer.
Excellent. How many of you guys use Diana? Cool. Wow, look at that. All right. Well, obviously you're good. Otherwise they wouldn't be calling you.
Well, I'm very happy that these guys trust me. It's great.
Well, I think you've proven to them that you can be trusted, right? So that's great.
Thank you for your time.
The more women we have in this business, the better. It's a lonely world.
Yeah, more pleasant to come to the studio then.
You have to be 3-4 times better than every average guy just to, to be given a chance. It's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, you come up so much better than they do, and they disappear and you continue. So that's great. Welcome.
Thank
Dimitri.
you.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
So I'm Dimitri. I'm not a sound engineer. I'm a composer. I write music for films and many other projects, but I'm still very much interested into the whole sound engineering part. I take a lot of time trying to mix music my own. And I'm sitting at my home. I used to have a studio space which was near Ilya, but now I can show you around. I brought my piano, my MIDI keyboard, everything is
lockdown setup.
Lockdown style, yes, exactly.
So you do have Pro Tools or Logic or something where you're actually recording all your demos and you're doing the basics.
Sure, I do a lot of production myself.
It's interesting, isn't it, that there certainly was a time where if you wanted to write a song, you'd have to call up some friends and find a studio time and find an engineer that you liked and go in there and make the record. And if you wanted to do changes, you'd have to come back. I mean, some of you have absolutely zero reference of that, but that was what it used to be. You were always dependent on someone else. And Pavel, so now, and you distracted me on that one. So now, you're all self-sufficient. You make your record, and it's ready to be either now the main record, with all the musicians is ready to go, or it's good enough and you get somebody just to mix it and you're done. I mean, that just wasn't happening 10, 15 years ago at all. Now everyone is self-sufficient, which is the way it should be, which is great. So, hold on a second. Who's, it's in Russian. Who's next to Dimitri?
Valery.
What's that?
His name is Valery.
Valery.
Yes.
Hello. Hello,
Hey,
everyone.
Valery.
My name is Valery Badyanov. I'm a mixing engineer from Kazan. Most often I work with rock music, hip hop music. That's it in short.
Okay. Well, welcome. And then we got 3 left. So we got with the glasses, and you're in a nice apartment with a. Yeah, that's you.
Konstantin.
What's your name?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Michael. Nice to meet you virtually, at least. My name is Konstantin. I'm sound engineer, and I work most of the time. I work with pop music and with Russian artists, but I wish to turn myself into more funky and more jazzy music, because it's very hard to work with pop music on everyday basis.
Konstantin mixes A-level Russian hip-hop artists and pop artists. He's just humble.
He sets the level, yeah.
Now I'm in 70 sounds, like soul surfer sound, like old school soul sound. Very interesting for me.
Cool. Good. So let's see who's left here. We've got yellow.
Misha.
Hello.
Misha.
My name is Misha. Hi guys. Hi Michael. I am not sound engineer, but I'm happy to be here. I am a songwriter from Far East of Russia, from Khabarovsk, if you know this town, little town.
Or Japan, nearby.
Not far from Japan, yeah. About 40 minutes by plane.
Excellent.
That's all. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Did I cover everyone? Did I miss anyone? Because some of your pictures are moving around. I'm like, wait a minute, we've already met.
We have
So
some
is there anybody
people.
here that hasn't introduced themselves?
Yes, some anonymous persons. Sorry for not having any user pic or any video reference because have software problems. I'm a big fan of your work, of your attitude to the bounce, joy, and sexuality in mixes. So it's something that I really rely on your way in some my mixing procedures. I'm Ilya's student, also like Pavel and Alexei. So, and I'm happy to just feel some energy coming from you, to get some confidence, to understand better your metaphorical attitude in working with the gear, in working with sound, understand the sound more in this body way. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so is that Greg 777?
Yeah.
That just spoke? Okay, cool. But actually your name is also Ilyas, or is it Greg?
Oh, his name is Greg.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And we also have Vasily, who is an engineer, a mixing engineer and recording engineer. He went a little late, so
okay.
Introduction. Vasily.
All right, and so your name is, who just came in? What is your name?
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Vasily. Hello. Glad to see you all. I'm a recording engineer, mostly in classical music, and last time mostly at live engineer too.
Great. All right. Everyone is here. Welcome. So this is an interesting time. I mean, I think it's definitely good just to remind ourselves that I don't really know how bad it is over there. The news isn't quite as open as it is here, but I'm going to guess that it isn't fun. And that, you know, it's absolutely stressful. It's stressful on so many levels, right? Because one of them is, well, if you're older parents, you know, can they catch it? Are they going to get sick? You know, so you've got family that is concerning. Then you've got the career choices you were in the middle of making, or things that you were about to do, and that has just suddenly stopped. And maybe you were depending on that particular project to pay the rent. I mean, there's the financial stress, which never ends. And then there's just the mental, you know, constantly reminding yourself that things will be okay, but it becomes incredibly stressful. So with all that stress, what, you know, how do you get through this? And we're all different. We all deal with these kind of stresses differently. Mine are certainly pretty great. Fact that I've moved out of the city where I have, you know, an expensive studio I have to pay for and an expensive apartment that I have to pay for. And yet I'm up here. But I decided early on that, okay, there's not too much I can do about changing the outside situation, but I can certainly do things to change the inside situation. This is the time to work on things that normally I simply wouldn't. And some of them are mental and some of them are physical. And I just found myself trying to do the two together. I started meditation a year ago. I chose TM, which is transcendental meditation. It's the easiest of the different forms. I was very suspicious. I didn't want a meditation that had religion to it or philosophy to it, or having to burn incense and have pictures and verbally repeat something 100 times. I didn't want something where it was controlling the cognitive mind, where I didn't want to find something where I had to try to change my thinking or focus on my thinking. I want to be able to just simply do nothing and, you know, repeat a mantra that is just repeated enough to facilitate this, what's called transcending into this other place where you don't control your thoughts. The thoughts are still up there, but you're a little bit further underneath. It's like, you know, it's like when you see the ocean and it's, you know, there's a lot of action, which is what your mind is thinking. It doesn't stop, but when you go down deeper, it's always calmer down deep. So it's the ability to just let the mind do what it does, but get down, transcend down deeper, as opposed to staying on the surface and saying, this is not how I'm going to think. I want to think this way, and I'm going to imagine I'm on a beach, and you know, you're trying to force and change your thinking. Transcendental meditation doesn't do any of that. It's so unbelievably simple, and to try and keep it simple is the challenge. But when you transcend, it's all been scientifically tested, and you get down. Sleeping is 6 to 8 cycles. Transcendental is 8 to 10, and all the other types of meditation are 10 to 12 to 14, right there. Transcendental is the only one that is right above sleeping. You're aware, but you're incredibly calm. It's just a great place to be. And the most amazing thing about this is that you should never, ever have any expectations with this. You just do for 20 minutes, you know, and whatever happens, happens. And you have this little mantra that kind of facilitates this. It's the difference, you know, like, well, what's the difference? Well, if I just sit here and close my eyes for 20 minutes, what's the difference? Well, the difference is that you're going to kind of stay on the surface. But with this mantra that you're given, that you just, it's not like you have to repeat it 100 times. It's just like this word that means nothing, that kind of sets up the conditions, and then you find yourself just floating down. I wouldn't say it's like smoking a good joint, but it certainly does get you, you know, in this place. And then you come back up because the mind is always active, and it's like this, you go down and you come back up and you come down, and you know, and it doesn't matter how active your mind and your thinking is, you don't ever force it not to think. It's just, it's so cool. And so I started this a year ago, and I had just been finishing up Bon Jovi's record, and I was going through stuff, and I was just feeling kind of hollow. And I turned to John, and I was just like, you don't know anybody that, that teaches meditation or anything. And he goes, well, glad you asked. Because I've been doing it now for a year. He had started right after I'd mixed his previous album, because until then he hadn't. But I noticed there was a certain calmness about him. And so he suggested, TM, and I was like, TM, isn't that like a cult thing? Because I remember hearing about TM a long time ago, and it was always about, oh, it's a cult. And I was like, which was completely wrong. So he gave me the name of his teacher, and his teacher was one of the ones who actually learned from the Maharishis. I mean, these guys were the real deal. And it was an amazing, like day one, they kind of celebrate the Maharishi. So it may appear to be religious, but it isn't. And then they give you the mantra, which is something you just don't share with anyone else. And you just and you never say it out loud. It's just something inside. And then the second, third, and fourth day is just to show you how simple it is, to ensure how simple it is. As a New Yorker, we don't know simple. Right, so it takes like 4, they're like 90-minute sessions, and it's just, there's just, you can not believe in it, it doesn't matter. You can be skeptical, it doesn't matter. It's all good. So for me, that was the one that worked. I don't want to be forced to do anything or to try and change my thinking. That just doesn't work for me. And I can say after a year, I don't feel like I'm any different, but my friends started doing it because they noticed a difference in me. So I don't know if that, is the best way to say that. But it just allows you, whether it's the one that I choose or you do another meditation, in times like this, and especially in the career that we're all in, some of you are just getting going, others are in it, you already know the ups and downs. Something to just control, well, I wouldn't say control, just to try to set up the situation so you can accept the stress and maybe deal with it in a more open way, as opposed to when your brain is like frozen because there's so much fear going on. So it's something that, certainly 5 years ago, I wasn't pushing that. I was pushing. I wasn't, pushing, I guess. I was saying you need to do some kind of a meditation, or you need to do some kind of a yoga. You need to do something just to allow the stress to leave your body. Because if it all stays in there, you're going to get sick. I mean, that's just common sense. So, I didn't know, I wasn't doing any meditation, but I was suggesting it, and my mother, who's now 96, would always tell me, darling, you've got to, do some kind of meditation. And I go, yeah. But I wasn't into that. And my ex-wife was doing this, the thing with all the pictures and the incense burning and the repeating. And I was like, I do not want to be doing that. It's just, I don't buy it. It's like, I got to force myself. That not into any of that. But it doesn't matter, because if it works for you and you can feel that your day is better, and then when you're done with the meditation, you feel better, then you should do that. But whatever it is, I really highly recommend, especially at this point in your career, that you get kind of used to this. I mean, for TM, it's 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon, like around 6 o'clock, right? In the morning, it's like it prepares you for the day. And then in the afternoon, it kind of wraps up the day. And it's, so I won't talk much more about that, but I'm just saying that when something impresses me, I tell all my friends, and whether it's meditation or it's like the distressor, when the distressor first came out, I was like, guys, you wouldn't fucking believe this compressor. And I told all my friends, right? There were none in New York, right? And I go, who is designing this thing, right? And I call up the guy, I go, David Dirk, yeah, hey, I'm Michael Brauer, man. I like your piece of gear. Where do you live? And he gives me, I got in my car and I drove down to Jersey, and I was like, hey, how's it going? I said, I wanted to meet you. And then we hung out for the whole day. And I said, I really like your thing. Maybe you think you could modify it a little bit for me, you know, which what led to the British setting and stuff. But I mean, you know, every type of thing that I really like, I want to meet the person who designed it, because I'm just so blown away that these people can, you know, come up with a tool that you can just express yourself so well with. And then I decided eventually to design my own. I thought, well, this, you know, nobody's designed something, I'm going to make one. This is going to be the ultimate, you know, nobody's doing this. And that turned into the Brauer Motion plugin. That took 2 or 3 years. I'd never been involved in. I had no idea how it was done, but obviously I was working with Waves, and Mike Fratis, who's the head, you know, of the program, was very, very patient, because my learning curve was, you know, kind of really slow. But I knew exactly what I wanted to hear, and I did not compromise. And it took almost 3 years, you know, but now it's cool. I mean, it came out great. And now I'm in the middle of designing a second one, which is something different. If it's going to be like nothing is out there. So it's exciting for me. And, you know, a period right now where there's nothing going on, or maybe that you're getting some work, this is the time now to okay, you know, for me, I'm up in the country, and I'm lucky. I have a place up in the country, but I spent 15 years busting my ass every day, every weekend, to save enough money to get something, all right? So it's not like, oh yeah, I got this just like this. No, man, I sacrificed a lot. So I do have a house, and I have a yard, you know, and I've been cleaning the yard and doing, you know, all the little things, and just keeping my mind occupied. And while I'm working, I'm also thinking about, you know, what else is going on in my mind? Like, what do I need to change now? You know, because when all this goes down, you're forced to think of, what are my real needs? Like, what do I really need, you know, to survive? Wait a minute, have I been happy? As have I been focusing on this career? Have I forgotten that I'm not happy, you know? And so there's all these little things that you realize, and sometimes too late, that you have to at least balance it with feeling good inside. I mean, music makes us all feel good. Otherwise, I don't think any of you guys would be here, right? I mean, you want to express yourselves. I don't know how to write a song, but I can express a song you've written, right? I mean, yesterday I just mixed a song that, man, it was like, for me, it was almost like a tearjerker. A friend of mine who's been finishing up this album, he keeps sending me songs, and yesterday it was actually called Tomorrow. And you know, and it's just about when he starts a relationship, and he thinks everything's going to be great in this relationship, and you know, really look forward to how things are going to be with us. And you know, in the beginning, you have all these feelings like, this is how it's going to go, but then it doesn't. And of course, you know, by the bridge, you know, it gets really dreamy and goes, you know, how did it all go wrong? And it was sad, because I'm just going through this same exact situation, having lost, you know, or the relationship has ended, but I'm still in love, but I know it needs to be over. And when you're mixing this song, you know, as I'm mixing this song, I'm like, oh, and so I projected that feeling into the mix. And when Mark listened to the song, his wife listens to it all the time, and she wrote back, I mean, she said to him, this is the best rendition of this song I've ever heard. She goes, it's so emotional. I can feel the story you're telling. And so what is that about? Have I mentioned one EQ, one plugin to do that? It doesn't matter. is like the feeling that I had is like, I'm hurting. Like, you know, I know it needs to be over. I know it's over. It's not like I didn't participate in this, but you taking this and you projecting it into the song. That's what we are. We're mixers, right? We're the ones that are the medium between the music and the people. How are we going to take this song and project the soul and the energy that the artist has written? So at no point do I care about how I get there. Like if I'm void of that feeling, that very sensitive song is going to sonically sound balanced, and it won't touch shit. It won't mean anything when I'm focusing on what's the coolest reverb and what's the, you know, and how is my Brauer eyes pumping and how is this, who gives a shit, right? Because it has to be, you know, it has to be very, very, it has to be from the inside, right? So I've got my daughter complaining from the other room that I'm speaking too loud. Find another bedroom. You know, it's when that song was done, I mean, he was like, wow, you know, I just can't believe how much more emotional you made it. And it was how I was feeling it. And I felt like the lyrics said that, but now you've brought it out. Now you've just really brought it to life. And that's what you should do as a mixer with every song. Yeah, first you have to learn how to execute your tool, right? You're on a guitar player, when you first started playing guitar or keyboards, you know, you were pretty spastic on it. You didn't quite know what you were doing. You certainly couldn't get, you know, more than a basic idea across, but you keep practicing. And what's the point of learning your instrument? So you can stop thinking. So you can just express yourself. And there's no more looking at the instrument, and there's no more wondering what it should be. It becomes an extension of your thoughts, because now you're creating music. And whether it's the keyboard or a drum or guitar, you know, a violin, I don't care what instrument it is, you have to get past the point where you stop thinking. And so mixing is exactly the same thing. Is I learn what you have, learn the format, learn all your plugins, learn all your stuff, so that when I think of, well, I need more aggression on a vocal, I have in my mind scanning. I've got hardware that's scanning. I've got software that's scanning through my head. It's like a flashbar. It's like, and along the way, one stops. I go, oh, that'll be right with what I have. So let's say, in the movies where you've got the thumbprint, right? And then you're scanning all the other thumbprints through the whole data to find out who the killer is, right? It's like, and suddenly it goes, boom, bang, 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 bang. Thumbprint matches, right? This is the problem. Here's my instrument. It's not aggressive enough. Boom. Here's the plugin. When you put it in here, it's more aggressive, right? That's how the process should be. It's just there's very little thinking going on, right? It's just your experience of how that comes together. And as soon as you do it, you put it together and you listen. If you don't like it, you dump it. But and I've said this before, I think when I was, the last time I Zoomed with you guys, or some of you, you have to, how do I explain this?
You mean like
you know, I'd say you
live
have to do as little thinking as possible. You have to just keep it as easy and as simple as possible, the whole process. And for those of you who are musicians, you know how you are when you're performing, right? What are you doing when you're performing? You got your eyes closed, you're on stage, or you're moving around, right? You're not thinking about anything, but you're in the song. Am I right?
Yeah.
You're in the
exactly.
song. Now, something strange happens, even though you know exactly how to do that and you're a musician, you then sit down at Logic or Pro Tools or whatever you're using, and you have now recorded it, and you're still grooving, everybody's grooving, and now it's time to mix, and suddenly that's supposed to be serious. And you're closing your eyes and moving, stops. And now you all start, not all of you, but some of you start looking like you're dentists. You know, you're like, let me see how I'm going to take this tooth out. You know, oh, gee, I don't know. Should I try this one or this one? You know, I could take the tooth out 5 different ways. It's going to be, you know, still a hole. And, you know, and you're thinking and you're analyzing. It's like, what happened to you guys? What happened to the musicianship? It's simple. You're supposed to be simple. You got to take it easy and just let it flow. Let it, whatever your thoughts are. Now, the great thing is that we're human. And when we come in and we sit down to mix a song, what do you have going on before you sat down? You know, what kind of, did you have? Are you angry as shit? Are you happy? You know, are you really, really sad, or things are just going really, really bad for you? Is that you're supposed to throw that out? No. Right? You use that to focus on the song at hand. But you have to change the feeling a little, the approach. In other words, if you're about to sit down with a happy song and your girlfriend just left you, or worse, that could be sad, or worse, she's with your best friend. Now it went from sadness to anger, and you're supposed to be mixing a happy song. You know, if you project all that anger into it, you're going to have one nasty, unhappy song. Right? And the artist is going to listen to it and go, what'd you do to my song? You know, it's like supposed to be happy. I think I want to kill myself now. You know, but it's still an emotion that you're feeling. So what do? You do what you do as an actor. One would, you know, you move that energy towards the happiness, which we all want to be anyway, right? We naturally all would like to be happy. So you just take that energy, and then it's almost like you take a couple hours off, you know, you check out, you're off the record now, and you're just projecting that energy towards what is going to make this the most happy, which will make you feel good. And then when that song is done, you know, you'll still feel good for another couple hours, and then you'll maybe come back to that state of mind. But what you've done in that process is just redirected the energy. There's a lot of energy there. It's just you turn it towards a positive for the song. So how do you do for that song, right? And if that particular mix, that particular song, there's a section where you know, obviously you should be listening to the lyrics, you know, and if the lyrics are saying to you, I love you, but there's a tension in there. And by the bridge, that tension shows it's like, I love you, but you've disappointed me too much. And I can't go on this way. When you're mixing that, you know what that feeling is. So when you're mixing it, you're going to mix it with an edge. You're not going to make it all fluffy and pretty and mixy and bouncy, because you know what that feels like. And so you're gonna EQ certain chords so that maybe the ninth comes out of it, or something dissonant comes out, or a second comes out of it, right? It's the same thing when you guys are writing songs. You know, it's like, okay, it's happiness with a dark side. Then, you know, what are you going to do about that? And so as a mixer, you can take any chord in a piano or a guitar, and you EQ it right, and you're going to pop up, you know, certain different frequencies that make it feel dissonant, or you can make it feel major, or you can make it feel minor. Now, trust me, I am not thinking about it needs to go major or minor. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm explaining to you technically. Emotionally, I'm just turning knobs, and I'm like, oh yeah, that feels good. Nah, that doesn't feel good. Fuck that. Oh yeah, okay, here we go, boom, and I move on. And why do I stop? Because I can do 10, 15 different good sounds, right? Why this one? Because the emotion is driving me. That particular emotion. When you're listening to a song and it should be an angry song, then all your decisions as you're making, you know, the EQs or the compression or the level should be directed towards your angry. If your drums are nice and clean and you're trying to think angry, what are you going to do? You're going to dirty it up. You're going to add some distortion. Maybe you're going to go too far. Go too far. Always go too far to know how you know, to back up. Don't be safe. There's no such thing as safe. You want to be safe, you're fucked. Right? You're going to have a safe career. You're going to have a safe girlfriend. You're going to have a safe house. You're going to have a safe dog, right? What does that give you? If that's the life you want to be, you like to be just safe and not venture out, okay, do it well, right? But if that's not what you want, and you want to really be able to, by accident, you know, find amazing, amazing directions, you have to go too far. Just to know how far to come back, right? So the whole thing about when you're mixing is just close your eyes, you know, and go for the button and do something and just go too far and see, does this bring out the particular emotion of what this song needs? You know, if it's a happy song and, you know, do you think that adding a whole lot of distortion on the drums is going to help it bounce and float, or is it going to make it heavier? You know, and should this song feel more like it's on the upbeat? What if you're, you know, how do you know that? Because you want, when you're moving, you know, like you want to do this, but if you're not moving and you're saying, oh, I just found this great new plugin, and you throw it on there and it just weighs the song down. What do you have? You got Zippo, right? So this is just the refresher part of this, reminding you guys that you're musicians and you got to check in with what your soul is telling you, not what your newest sample and newest toy is telling you to do, you know, or I just watched a video, you know, and Chris Algy uses this and this and this and that. That's great. I'm going to use that on everything. And you know, oh, wait a minute. But Andy Wallace, whoa, he does that. And, oh, but Chad Blake with all the compressions, you know, and what Brauer with all this fucking movement. I'm getting dizzy. I don't know what do I do? You know, there's endless opportunities, but what are we doing individually? We're choosing stuff that makes us feel good, that makes the song feel good. That's what we're doing. So all those tools are just to help you approach just about every type of song. So you can study those, you know, mixed with the masters, or, you know, you have mentors like Ilya, who's taught some of you. You know, you listen and you watch, and then you go home and practice. So here's a time where, you know, it's a very, very scary time. You know, you can spend 5 hours totally stressed out. What will that do for you? In those same 5 hours, you can be thinking, at least take the same time and be positive and try new ideas and better yourself because all this will pass. And which one is going to accomplish it? Your time frame is the same. It's like, what are you going to do with this? Yeah, it's a lot easier to stress and stuff. It's probably a lot harder to be thinking positive and trying stuff, but it's going to be a lot more productive if you go in that approach, right? You just you know, and if you need, if you notice that your apartment or your room that you're in is just always bugging you because it's too messy or the colors aren't right, okay, you've got the time. Get some paint, right? Clean it up. Paint it just the way you like so that the exterior feels good to you, which will help the interior. That's the whole thing when I was out in the garden, man. Like, this is, not a big garden, but it's big enough with a lot of dirt and a shitload of leaves. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it's like, usually I would hire a crew. I'm like, well, I'm the crew now. And, but I got really into it. I was like meticulous. When I was first on, I thought, well, that's pretty good, compared to where it was. This is really good. And then my eye starts looking around because my attention to detail is just insane. And I'm like, oh, that could be better. Oh, that could be better. And you know why it could be better? Because it doesn't quite feel just right. It doesn't feel right. Right. And then the next day I went at it again. And by the time it was done, it almost looked like a Zen garden. And I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Right. But I'm just letting it go. And I know exactly what's going on. I'm getting back into being precise and detailed because when I'm done, it'll feel great. It won't just be balanced. It won't be technically right. It's gonna feel great. And when you walk by this garden, you're gonna go, whoa. It's the same thing for a mix. You're gonna get into the detail, but you don't want to be thinking so much. You just want to let it go. You want to go with the flow. Again, I can't say enough about how you want to just take it easy, which happens to be what my teacher would say, in TM. He's like, just take it easy, enjoy it. Don't force yourself. All of you have learned your instrument. So now just stop thinking about it and now create, because the success of each one of you here is going to be dependent on how creative you are, not how well you balance stuff, because balance means nothing, right? It's just, I think you've all heard friends or records where you go, they go, look at this, everything is so well balanced and the bottom end is perfect, the mid-range is perfect. I listen to those guitars and you go, yeah. And then you're thinking to yourself, but I don't feel anything. And why? Because it's sonically perfect. I should be feeling something. No, you've focused on the balance. You didn't focus on the heart of the song. So you've missed the boat. I don't care how good it sounds. It's a song. Fucking do something with a song, right? You're supposed to bring the message out. So I think, without making you guys go crazy and all click off, I think I've made my point here that all of this, all the things you're learning are really about how to go interior. Like each one of you understands the feeling of what happiness is, right? Is there anybody here that doesn't know? Maybe some of you have not felt happiness in a long time, but you do know when you're really happy and you're laughing your ass off, there's that certain energy that feels great, right? That's one of the major emotions. Okay, the other opposite of that is the lonely, the sad feeling. You all know what that feels like. All of you. And you certainly know what angry is like, right? And you all have your unique take on angry. And then there's the physical, where all you want to do is get up and dance. That's the only function, physical. You close your eyes and you're bouncing around off the walls, into people, on the floor, getting stomped on, and you're having a great time. Those are for me, those are the four main emotions. But here's is where each one of you is completely unique to the other, is that Diana's interpretation of what is sad is going to be unique to her, because we don't know what sad can mean to her. She can experience sad that all of us would go, well, fuck, my life is good. I've never experienced that. Or Daria can say, I have my own unique version of what sad can be that really, really hurts. And some of you guys, you know, is the opposite of angry. Some of you guys knows what angry has been because you have been, you know, you have been taken advantage of, or you have been really, really, you know, you have reason for anger. But your interpretation of anger is different than someone else's, right? And so what I'm saying is each of you has the unique ability to interpret those emotions your very own way. We all know if you're happy, or you're mixing something happy, we're all going to know it's happy. But what's amazing is you take a song and, you know, and Daria mixes it in a way that her happiness, the way she interprets that song, I mean, it's written, right? It's already, it's like a conductor. The score is written. Now it's how she gets the performance to interpret what is on paper. In this situation, it's already recorded. It's how you as a conductor are going to interpret what is going on here. How you're going to focus this. And if your unique feeling for happiness, you have to go inside you guys. You can't hide that shit now. This is it. You have to check in. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as learning a plugin. It's a lot harder because you have to check in on who you are. What are your feelings? And you're going to have to bring those out, because that's what's going to keep you different from anyone else. If you just do happy, the expected happy version of a mix, give it to me. I'll show you fucking happy, right? Because I know how to just bring it out, and you're going to go, oh, I can't do that. No, you can. You just didn't let it all out. You didn't let it go. You don't know yourself well enough. So again, I have spent 0 seconds on technique, because the technique doesn't matter. You got to start with a feeling, then you'll find the technique. You'll find the right thing to do to interpret how you're going to do that. But I can tell you guys, a year from now, if you learn what your unique expression is, I mean, think about the guys that you really like as mixers. Think of us. Think about Manny, or myself, or Andy Wallace, or, I mean, you know, I mean, there's so many, Young Guru, or Alex Toomey, or you know, Mick Gazowski, some of the older guys, you know, Chris Lord-Alge, his brother Tom, Greg Wells, right? Who not only just writes his own stuff, but he's also recording it, and he's mixing, and he plays every instrument. What's going on there, right? Each one of us has we all know happy, but we each have a different approach to it. It's no different than when you guys are writing a song. The two of you here are strictly songwriters. What are you doing? Your song, it's another interpretation of happy, but if it's a really good one and your lyrics really express what's going on, it's not going to be just 5 people that like it. It's going to be 5 million people that are going to like it. And so it's the same thing for me as a mixer. You know, when I mix Yellow, I was going through just what you're hearing, what you're feeling in that song. It's like, I was just realizing that, you know, that my relationships I'd been in for 20 years might be ending in my mind. You know, it was just horrible. And then I'm mixing this song, and this song came to me like, how can this describe exactly how I'm feeling? It's like, what happened? Like, it's like always fate with me, you know. When it's a happy, I'm doing happy records. When I'm sad, I'm doing sad records. When I'm angry, I'm doing angry records. But it doesn't mean that if I'm angry that I can't do a happy record. You know, you just move that energy. But what is it? It's my unique interpretation. So when I was mixing that song, I just had a real loneliness, and I was like, what can be lonely in this song? Because it's feeling too organic. It's feeling too straight. I ended up, if you listen to the snare's got this hollow, weird sound that is just haunting, you know, and it's like almost right below Chris's chin in loudness. And it stays like that through the whole song. And it's like this weird sound. I've never done it again since then. I've tried, it doesn't work. But of all the things that made it haunting, that wouldn't have been the instrument that I would have thought of, except when I tried everything else, nothing worked. And I finally just kind of take it easy and go, what could it be? Well, how about if I do this? And then I put it to some kind of weird limiter, and it was phasing a little bit with the original. So it gave it a hollow sound. And I was like, this is not something that you would, you know, that you look up in a book and go, okay, for tension, bring this up, you know. And how does that happen? Is because you let it go. There are no rules. You're just closing your eyes and you're looking for something without frustration. You're just letting it go. You're enjoying yourself. And, you know, oh, well, you can do that because you've been doing it for years. I can't. Bullshit. That's just bullshit. There are no excuses here. You know, if you know how to raise a fader and you know how to turn on a plugin, the rest is what's going on in here. Don't be misled that all these new toys is going to get you there. It's going to sound good, but who gives a shit? Right? Do I make myself clear that you each have this unique way of killing it? And if you listen to, you know, my other peers and my friends, and you listen to how those records you like, think about it for a second. What is it that attracts you so much? It's just his or her interpretation of one of those four emotions. I mean, it's already, it's recorded. So, but why is it that if you give that same song to 4 or 5 really unique mixers, you're going to get 4 or 5 different interpretations that might all be great, but the band will pick the one that they love the most. It doesn't mean that you suck. It's just you didn't nail the direction that they're looking for, right? So this is so much more important than giving you my favorite plugin, because I don't give a rat's ass, because the plugin is good for that particular moment, for that particular instrument, because of the way it was recorded, you know. But I'm happy to, you know, go geeky with you for a while, you know. I'll get you off. I'm fine with that. So enough of me talking shit. Who wants to start? Who's got a question? Ilya, you want to like moderate that and pick somebody, and then we'll go from there.
Well, Andrei has some question. He's raising his hand, so let him ask.
Go for it.
How to deal with the annoying clients? Should you argue with them or not? How to satisfy their wishes and be yourself?
The first part of the question is, how do you deal with
annoying clients?
Oh, right. Okay. So the first thing you need to decide on is, are they annoying, or are you not able to interpret their wishes? So that's the first thing you're gonna have to deal with. So what that means is, now we're talking ego. Right? I totally get it. And I have worked with really annoying, despite what's going on, they're just annoying. And they're annoying because they don't know how to express themselves, and then they blame you for not being able to psychically understand what they need, right? A lot of that is because they're inexperienced. And so, you know, and they also are doing this as a form of control. They want to control you, right? So you can have a lot of stuff going on. But at the end of the day, you remember this, that it's not about you. It's about getting the song just the way that the client wants it. Your job is to express creativity and make the song potentially the best it can be. So one of the first things you must always do is you must have the version that you present to them printed, that session saved. Because at any point where, you know, a day later or something, they've gone down the rabbit hole and it sounds like total dog shit, you should be able to like pull the rabbit back out of the hole and kind of lead them back to where it was going before they went berserk. But it's very important to not go down that rabbit hole with them. And by the way you can do it is, I think, losing patience and, you know, and sounding like you're fed up with them will shut them down. So it's really a checking yourself and going, okay, my tone is changing now. They can notice it. I got to be really careful. But the other thing too is investigate what it is that is making them annoyed. Like, are you missing something? You know, as opposed to they're missing something. Are you missing something? And maybe you don't like their idea. And the best way to go, and I try to do this always with laughter and stuff, right? To try and keep it cool. So I could say shit to somebody, you know, I could say, you know, your idea like totally sucks, right? And they'll laugh. As opposed to you go, well, you know what, your idea totally sucks, you know, and they're gonna go, well, fuck you, right? That doesn't work. So I try to keep it light from the beginning. I kind of set up the stage and I go, hey, listen, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to, you know, let's work on these ideas. And they'll say, yeah, you know, yeah, the mix is good, but you know, we have a lot of ideas. Okay, cool, let's do. And you go, look, the whole point of this is it's your record, but you've also hired me, not just to be a button pusher, but to give ideas. So let's try your ideas, and if they're good, great. And if they suck, you know, then we won't go. But you always have to add that. And I go, hey, listen, and if my ideas suck, you could say to me, the idea sucks, right? And then everybody's like, you kind of, now it's like, chill out here. It's just music, okay? Let's not get serious, all right? It's music. So let's just do this together. You're having issues. You're not quite understanding what I'm trying to say. So, you know, you want to massage it a little bit more. You can go, I could feel like I'm annoying you. What is it that I'm missing? You know, put it on yourself. And then quite often you want to be using the word we and not I. Like, we, you know, oh, this is a great idea, you know, and give the ideas back to the other person. They know you know that they know that you know. Right? But if you're constantly saying, well, this is my idea, mine, you know, like, this is my record, shut the fuck up. Stop saying that you're taking credit for everything, right? And same with a producer. You know, if you're working with a producer, you know, whatever you could say is, what do you think about, you know, this snare? And you'll say, hey, you know, give me that, you'll say, maybe, you know, maybe we should brighten it. And then, oh, I love that. I go, yeah, that was a great idea. You know, you made this really much better. And they'll know it was like, it was your idea. It doesn't, you need to be like letting them sit in the king's throne chair, right? Knowing that it's your chair, right? It's a big difference. As opposed to, I think I need to have this because you don't know what you're doing. Get out of my throne. No, you're inviting them to sit in your chair, but it's your chair, right? So it's a way just to try to keep things calm. And let's say you're working on the chorus. One of the first things you want to do is say, hey, let's listen to this song together, the mix you've done, right? And hopefully they're, you know, on Zoom or something so you can watch them, you know, live streaming. That's what I've been doing a lot. You watch them when they're listening to the song, and if they're like this in the B section, or they're shaking their head in the bridge, you know, okay, so you know you've got things. Or if you see them moving, right, and then they stop moving, okay, where did they stop moving? Notate all that. There's issues, right? Or if they close their eyes and they look like they're in heaven for the whole song, you're probably, you know, you're there, and they're going to express that when the song is done. Now, some of them should be more grateful. You know, to me, I don't like when I mix a song, because I'm not a fucking robot. I don't like to mix a song and then get comments that just say, you know, I need more of this, I need more of that, I need this, less of that. How about starting with, hey, thanks for mixing this. This is really great. How about a fucking thank you? Okay. And then we can get into your comments. But you know, a thank you would be appreciated. You know, I am not your bitch, and I'm just going to be doing all these changes, and then you're going to go off because, you know, and I'm just going to go back into a corner like Westworld, you know, and just like, no, it doesn't work like that. I cared when I was mixing it. Show a little respect. And that's the thing that you should always do to other people. Same thing, you know, start off by saying, hey, thank you. Or by start off, if there's a mixer that they're going to play you a song, they're very nervous. They're artists. You find an artist that isn't nervous, insecure, you know, doing the opposite of what they're really wanting to say to protect themselves, right? So if they're playing you a song, how about saying, wow, cool song, man. I'm going to love mixing this. Do you know what that does? You know how much that helps set up a good vibe, as opposed to, oh yeah, cool, man, your drum sound ain't happening on this one, but I'll fix that. You know, I mean, really, you know, is that how you're introducing yourself to working on their song? So it goes both ways. And I'm saying, start off in a nice direction, and maybe they won't be so annoying. Maybe you've already done something. You know, a lot of it is body language. Non-personal communication is going on, where your body says something and you're scaring them and you're pissing them off, but you haven't said anything, but you did. Your eyes said something, your body said something. You know, maybe your body says, I don't care about this fucking song. You know, I got to pay the rent and I'm going to mix your song, right? So you think that's going to go well? So, you know, and when they're annoying, you want to try and understand why they're annoyed and try to, you know, stop that, you know, change it, get more into, you know, what are their needs? And I think that as mixers, when you don't understand, you're not concentrating on what their needs are, and you're reacting to what your needs are, that's not going to go well. So those little starting points, I think, can help. And remember, if you're working on a chorus and you're doing what they do and it doesn't sound good to you, it doesn't sound good, instead of saying, I think you totally fucked up this song, which might very well be the case, I'm not sure that's the greatest thing to say. You can just say, hey, listen, okay, are you done with these ideas on here? You go, yeah, okay, so let's back up a little bit. Let's listen to it from the verse through the chorus into the next section. Let's see how that works, right? In your mind, you're going, now everything before and after are going to suck. So you play it, and you know, they go, there's the verse, the B section, the chorus plays that you've spent all this time on, and then there's a post, and then go back into a, you know, second verse, and now they go, and let's say that they were loving, you know, the next verse before. I love that verse, and I love the bridge, you know, the B section before the chorus. And now they go, okay, the chorus sounds good now, but you know, the B section has got a lot of problems, you know, and that verse afterwards, it's a lot, you know, we got a lot of work. And then you got to go, wait a minute. Before we worked on this chorus, you loved the B section and you love verse 2, right? You go, yeah, but you know, obviously something has changed. I go, and then you go, yeah, the chorus. So what you do is you go, hey, okay, you know, and instead of like implementing your stamp of like, you fucked up, asshole, I told you this wasn't going to work, which doesn't give you the best results. You just go, okay, you know what? Let's listen back to the mix that we, not I, let's listen back to the mix we had, right? As opposed to, you know what's going to happen if you say I is going to be like defended by, well, it's going to be me against you. No, everything here is we. You can't use the word I in any conversation. You have to get that word out of your vocabulary. And you say, okay, what about listening to we? Let's just listen to this once, because I'm confused now. And respectfully, they'll say, okay, well, I think I know what we got. And then they'll listen to it. And maybe you, before you do that, you just talk about a little something. What are we going to eat for lunch? You know, where did you go this weekend or something? Just to get off their mind off, right? The mind just got to let it clear a little bit. And then you, okay. And then you don't say anything. You don't say, and now I'm going to play. You just say, okay, so let's listen to this. Boom. They've probably forgotten what they're about to listen to, which was the intention. So now you hit it play, and then you let it go. And then, you know, they'll go, there, you see, that's great now. That feels great. And then you go, right, that's the original mix. And then they'll go, let me hear that again. You know, and you play it again. You go, well, I don't know. And you go, well, listen, you know, it's possible that we focus, that we, not you shit for brains, but we focus too much on the chorus, and it changed the before and the after. So let's listen to what maybe we need. Maybe we'll take some of the elements from that chorus that are great and apply it to the first mix. And they'll go, okay, all right, let's listen. And then they listen and they go, oh, yeah, that, you know what? Actually, I don't think I like that anymore. How were they allowing themselves to say, I don't like that anymore? Because you didn't put them in a place where they have to defend everything they do, right? You're curious. You're just thinking about the song. You're not saying to them, I told you my version is better. Your version sucks. Here it is, and here's to prove me. And you know what? 100% of the time, they're going to go, fuck you. This is what we're doing, because you're putting them on the spot. And you know what happens when you put somebody on the spot, right? It's whether you put your friend on the spot or anybody else on the spot. They're, to the detriment of everything, will stick because the honor is being questioned, right? So you don't ever want to do that. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you for answering.
All right. Alexa.
Mute button.
Stop, just a second. I'll unmute Alexei. Could you please ask again?
Sorry. Thank you for answer on Andrei's question. I have another question. Have there been any events or discoveries in your career that have changed your vision of how to do your wonderful work?
I have forced that vision to change. I never stayed with one thing for very long, because as a mixer, you need to adapt and evolve at the same rate that the music and the musicians are evolving, right? I mean, if you think about this, when I started talking about, you know, Aretha Franklin, Luther Vandross, Change, all the funk era, right? That was a certain tight R&B sound for New York. Well, as you know, Phil Collins comes to light and David Bowie starts coming up to light and the sounds are changing, you can't apply what you've learned and just try to apply that to the music that's evolving and being different. Especially now if, you know, it goes from never even putting a room sound in drums to where it's based on the room sound. So, you know, you're always evolving, and the most important and the most difficult thing to do is to drop some great ideas for some new ideas. Because, you know, for me, anytime I would have success on a record that I've done, everybody's going to like it. I mean, what I'm saying is they're going to like those ideas and they're going to use them. So now those ideas aren't so fresh and new anymore, right? Because everybody else is doing them. And by the time that record comes out, it's a year later. So, you know, now somebody comes back in eventually and they're, you know, if you're still sticking to that one drum sound, they're going to, you know, you do the drum sound, they're going to go, well, that's an old drum sound. You know, that doesn't sound fresh to me. Well, you know, I did that record on blah, 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 that sold blah, 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 blah. And I have a blah, blah, blah over here to show this, right? And they go, yeah, but it's old. It's not fresh anymore. We don't care about your awards, right? So, you know, for me, every 4 or 5 years, I would switch it up. I would decide what kind of music I want to go after, a different kind of music. And in order to do that, I would start thinking about, well, how would I have to be thinking if I want to do, you know, more of a rock record, you know, or an indie record, like, you know, like I would spend like a year and a half, like with Coldplay, I had feelings of where this was going to go. And I spent like a year and a half changing things, you know, and working on ideas because I'm like, this is where it's going to go. So I got to develop it. I have a nice year and a half to figure out how to make a very quiet, intimate verse go into an explosive chorus and not have 10 dB difference. How do I do it only 3 dB? Right? I mean, so I spent a year and a half trying to, you know, figure it out. I finally did it. By the time I did the 3rd Coldplay record, bam, I was ready. And those records were explosive.
And how?
Intimate verse, big choruses, right? And how do you do that? So it's the same thing. And then when I decided, I said, okay, this is all good, but I really want to mix indie records. Who's going to call me for doing an indie record when I'm doing these big pop records or guitar band records? You know, indie is like this to that, you know, it's the opposite. The vocal sound is different. The drum sound, everything is more low key and gelled and, you know, so I said, okay, you know, and I started thinking about, I would reverse everything I'd be doing. Like my go-to, I go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the reverse. Oh, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to reverse, right? I have plenty of time. It's not like I have 3 days to figure this out. But what you do is you start thinking for about 4 or 5 months, what do you want to try next, right? So first you give yourself time to be thinking about it. And then you go, you try different ideas in your head. I want to go this, I want to go. And then finally you go, you know what? I like this idea. Okay, now I got to learn. So now that's scary, right? Because now you're out of your comfort zone. But what's scarier? Out of the comfort zone, learning something new that's going to lead to something great, or staying in your comfort zone and eventually being known as old. That's an old sound, and no calls. Which one's scarier? I know which one is scarier, right?
Yeah.
So just pick your fear and just go with it, right? Don't resist going new because you're afraid. I was the last guy deciding on how to mix hybrid. All my friends were already doing. I even had Nico flew to New York and sat down with me one day, goes, Brauer, let me show you how this is. And I was like, Nico Nico Bolas is like, you know, doing hybrid actually in the box. I'm like, Jesus, this sucks, you know, like why, you know? And he goes, let me show you this. Like, you mix this song, do it this way, and now do it all try to do it in the box and stuff. And he triggered that, you know, and I was like, oh my God, this is depressing. You know, and he goes, it's going to be a lot more depressing when nobody's using desks anymore and you have 1,500 stems you got to do on a desk. You'll be in there for like 3-4 days. So I learned, you know, and then eventually from hybrid, I learned how to do it all in the box, which is, here I am up in the country. I've got my studio downstairs. And I can do it in the box, and it feels great. I mean, I am loving it. It just feels incredible. I'm like, oh my God, what am I gonna do with all this gear, this hardware? Do I really need it anymore? Who knows? You know, so that's, I think, to answer your question, that's what needs to happen. You know, that you need to meet these things, because if you're going to be a mixer, you can't just mix one way, one thing. Because you'll be left behind. The mixers, just remember how hard you work to get to where you are, where finally you met up with the right band, right? You're doing this cool stuff, they're doing this stuff, and then boom, and then you guys succeed together. Okay, that's a one-shot deal. You know, they might come back for you on another record, but if this is really unique and what you've contributed is really unique, it's fresh for only just, it's got shelf life, right? For you as a mixer, you just can't say, okay, now I'm done. After all these 10 years of busting my ass, now I can just relax. Enjoy the time for like 6 or 8 months, but that's it. Then you got to move on again. So, you know, what I'm trying to say, staying in your comfort zone will kill you.
Thank you.
Next.
Моей руки не видно.
Roman.
Hey, Michael. Thank you for saying all this. It's every time inspiring and really ignites the fire in me. It's, I hope, for everyone else. Oh, by the way, I'm in your studio. If you can see it. I have a question. New times bring new challenges. And so recently I got few artists who I would love to work with, but they can't afford me because they don't have gigs. And so they started asking if I would do it for royalties only. And that's a concern, because on one hand, you have to decide what's, if it's gonna, you know, blow up and be everywhere so you can make money, so it's your own investment. And on the other end, and you, so you invest your time and the studio time and everything, and it might not bring you any money. And is it like a common practice to do music, to mix music only for royalties? And what percentage could be in this situation? Because I sacrificed more.
I think they're asking you to bend over and pull your pants down, is what that feels like to me. I mean, the risk is all on you.
Yeah.
100% on you. And why? Why? I mean, you know, why? you can, the chances that you're going to make any money back within a year is minuscule. So why the effort?
Right.
It's like, what? Okay, so you're independently wealthy and you don't, you know, and you believe in them so much that they have the best management in Russia. They have the best label in Russia. They have the best road crew. They have a tour guaranteed. Are they going to give you 360 of everything? Are they going to be giving you a percentage of the tour? Are they going to be giving you a percentage of the merchandise? Are they going to be giving you a percentage of the next 5 records from the label that they're signed to?
Yeah, probably not.
Well, then fuck them, because they're just asking you for a free gig and promising you paper, which is worthless.
Yeah.
No, you can say, sure, I'll do all of that, but I need an advance. And the advance is what your only fee is. I'll do that as an advance, as opposed to it being a fee. I'll make it an advance, so that, you know, against my royalties. So when the money comes in from your record, you can take that first, you know, $5,000 away because it's an advance. I mean, my deal is usually, you know, half fee, half advance. So the fee is the fee.
Mm-hmm.
They don't recoup, you know, as they're recouping, it doesn't. So, and they can say, oh, you can, you know, you'll recoup from $1, you know, like, yeah, no, I need money today. You see, I eat, and so does my family. And so all of this beautiful hoping and risking is all on me. So that's, who wins on that one? Well, you're going to win great if, well, you know, the word if is a big problem for me.
Yeah.
So I don't, and you know what's going to happen during this process? You're going to get bitter.
Yeah, probably.
You're going to feel taken advantage of. It probably won't go well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Andre.
The one question about way of working. You're talking about that we're thinking about the song, not about the technical stuff. And what do you think about this? Because for me, I love work on a analog console, because when I work on analog console, I'm listening, then I decide something, then I put my hand and do it. I have my EQs, I have my faders, I have my EQ sense, and it's faster. It's a process: listening, decide, then doing. Listening, decide, then doing. The plugins, it's another way. I understand, and I can do it another way. But I love work on analog because I do the faster things. I do it fast. You work a lot of time. You work a lot of time on 9000. Do you miss this way? Because the surface is different. It's only levels fast, and then you need to knobs and something different. What do you think about this for you?
I've been touching knobs for like 40 years, okay? I don't need to touch knobs anymore. I mean, I still have my S1 has got a lot of knobs, and I got faders, right? But the plugins, you know, it's the same thing for you. Whether it's a hardware or it's a plugin, doesn't matter. It's what am I thinking in my head that it needs? You know, if there's a serious de-essing, an essing problem, I don't go to hardware. I go to one of my 3 or 4 tools. I can use Smooth, or I can use Renaissance, or I can use Fab Filter, right? Or I can use whatever else, right? So it's a tool. Or if there's some really weird noises, I go right to Isotope and I get rid of that, right? So there's tools that go on. That's not just, you know, hardware or software. And as far as answering your question about what does it feel like now, because I'm no longer on a 9000, I have every channel has my Plugin Alliance 9000 channel strip. And before that, I had the Plugin Alliance 4K. I compared all of them. I don't care who the company is, which one feels right to me. and all the one, and I was trying to get the one closest to the 9K, none of which really did that. And I ended up with a 4 because it felt the best to me. And whether I put anything across it or not, it doesn't matter. I've got that SSL sound going all the way across. And the only thing that is in is the EQs are in and they're at 0, right? So it's just like I got my SSL at Electric, you know, it's just, I maintain that sound.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Sergey.
Thanks for all the stuff. This is very interesting and inspirational. Appreciate it a lot. Talking about emotional types of songs. Previously, you said that you tend to mix a couple songs a day. So do you try to schedule your work this way that you mix 2 songs that are of the same emotional type? Because switching from happy song to angry song can be challenging. How do you deal with that?
No challenge. What's the challenge? I mean, let's say you're watching a movie, right? And it's a love movie. And you're like, oh, this is great. And the movie's over and you go, ah, enough of that. You put on an action movie and Schwarzenegger is running around blowing everybody up. Are you able to handle watching the Schwarzenegger movie?
Yeah, but maybe it's harder to relate to specifically that song.
Okay. The issue you're having is that the vibe and the atmosphere that you're in stays with you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what you need to do is when the song is done, you take a break. Just take a break, mental break. And you get up and you do something else. You just go off and do something that, you know, takes your mind off of it. And when you sit back down, you're a new person. You're now a blank slate. And now you're going to listen to that song and you're going to receive what you feel from that song. And then you're going to react appropriately to what this song is trying to say. What is it, this message? And I mean, you know, if you think about your natural day, that you can be laughing your ass off on the phone, right? Somebody's really funny. And then you get a call and it's very distressing. How easily can you transition into your stressed anger? It doesn't take much. You don't find, oh, I'd like to be serious, but I can't help laughing because I was just laughing about 10 minutes ago. I gotta still laugh through this shit. I'm sorry. I know I'm upset, but I can't stop laughing. It's over, right? Boom, next situation. You let it in. In other words, just take it easy, take a break, come back, do it again. Don't think about, ooh, I've got all this heaviness that still sit there. Just let it out, let it out. Next.
Let it go.
You know, I'll mix 3 or 4 songs that I can go from a very simple, happy one. I mean, yesterday I mixed one that was just mostly a kind of a love song, but different. The message was different. And it was basically acoustic and accordion, very, very, very simple and organic, you know, like all the usual stuff I might put on it. I kept taking it all out and it kept sounding better and better and better, right? And then I was done. And then Fernando set up a song and, you know, the next song remotely from his apartment, you know, with Team Viewer and all that stuff. And then I took a little break. I think it was going to take him 2 hours or something to prep the next session. So I had lunch with the kids and everything. And then he texted me, I'm ready. I'll go downstairs. Completely different vibe. Really, really cool, but it's much warmer. It's bigger. It's just a whole other thing. I sat down, had a great time. Didn't even think about the last song. That's the past. So just do what you need to do to get yourself mentally prepared for the next one. That's all.
Okay, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Jacob.
Okay, thank you. My question is about assistant. Is your particular assistant and assistants as they are. So where there was the point when you meet your assistant and decided that, oh, I just need this man to work with him, and so I was wondering where the crucial point in your career and how you assign your responsibilities and share your duties between your assistant and you. So tell me about it.
Picking an assistant, I do very, very carefully, because it's almost like my assistant is responsible for finding the next assistant. And he knows what my likes and dislikes are. And usually they'll intern and I'll watch them. I'll watch them when they don't think I'm watching them. Watch what they do. Are they sloppy? Or how's their attitude? When they come in, are they like serious? Are they happy? Are they always like, nothing's a problem? Do they want to, do they want to offer help all the time? Do they look at the clock? Do they wonder when you're going to start paying them? Do they wonder, are they like always got kind of like a serious face on them? I don't want any of that. And how are their eyes? Their eyes have to have a certain brightness to them, a certain brightness. And so once they kind of pass the initial nonverbal stuff, then I just, then I'll say, I'll invite them to intern. But I tell them right off the bat, I go, you work for my assistant. Don't look at me. You're looking at him. He's going to train you. He's going to decide whether he likes you or not. And so right off the bat, they realize
you got two
that,
steps?
Yeah, so my assistant is their boss.
Oh, okay.
And I look at my guy and I go, all right, check him out for a week or so. Let's just see whether he or she even gets past step one, right? And if basically the attitude is wrong, or they're really just really slow, then we say thanks, bye. And then, but once they become a great assistant, well, once they become potential, then my assistant starts to teach them. And he teaches them the basics, like, okay, clean up the toms, or take the vocals and there's like pops and noises, get rid of the pops and the noises. And then, okay, de-ess the vocal. And then eventually, okay, now you're going to prep the session. This is how we like it. This is how Michael likes the session prepped. And so he'll start doing that. He'll slowly get, as soon as he can show that he's great, he or she is great at that particular task that we've given them, then we move on to the next thing. We don't just throw it in. Okay, you need to do everything. We want to see. We take it step at a time. And then eventually, my assistant will let them prep a session for me. And then I'll sit down and I usually can tell and go, what the fuck is this? And they're like, oh. So there's always a fear, it doesn't hurt. But, there's, it's a very, very slow process, because they have to really earn each position, each job. I have no confidence in them, no loyalty, no trust, nothing until they earn each one of these.
How long usually it's in time period?
They usually work with my assistant for about a year.
About a year.
It depends. Usually it's about a year.
Mhm.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
What I teach them, and then when they become my assistant, they can go anywhere and do anything, because what I have them doing is a lot. It's intense, and they you know, and then people are like lining up to try and get them once they leave, you know, because they know everything. And I teach them how to mix too. But that's in time. That's after, you know, a couple of years with me. And then once they can start training another assistant, then I can have them start focusing on mixing. So we've got about 10 minutes left. What's another question? Yes, Vladimir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my question is regarding, do you have any like secret techniques or ways how to switch the perspective while mixing from, let's say, from engineer's perspective when we focused on not always on major things, you know? How do you switch to this listener's perspective, so you focus on really what matters in the mix, in emotions, in yeah. So I know only one in my arsenal is only one way to like to switch this perspective and to focus on major things, is to place the artist or the client right behind me, yeah, near me. Then I immediately start to focus on major things.
What happens in those situations when you think usually they come in when you think the mix is really good, right? And then they come in and they listen to the mix, and suddenly what happens to your brain? It's like suddenly you're hearing your mix entirely different.
Right,
it's like,
right.
who just
Absolutely.
entered my body? Like, how the fuck did this guy walk into my head and now my mix sounds different? What just happened? I've been violated. That used to happen all the time. And so I was like, well, I thought to myself, this is really curious. Like, why does that happen? It's like suddenly I'm thinking through him, you know? So,
sure.
Or her. And so I was like, okay. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna set up a virtual situation, that scenario like that from now on. So what I would do is, once the mix felt really great, I print it and I take a little break, right? At this point, I'm not thinking, right? Up until this point, I'm just letting things flow. I'm not analyzing, I'm not doing anything. I'm just mixing it for me. But I'm also listening to the rough mix, or, you know, I'm interpreting what they're doing from their rough mix. I'm putting it all together, but it's for me, what feels great. And then I'll take a little break. And then when I come back, I sit down and I imagine I am the producer, I am the artist. And suddenly, as I'm gonna listen to this song, this weird feeling comes over me, because now I feel like the artist is in the room. And I imagine that, and I hear the mix differently. And I go, oh, so I make the changes. And then I keep doing it, and eventually there's no surprise. And then when the artist comes in, the things that I was thinking had been addressed, because I imagined they were in the room. And that's how I've been able to avoid that really strange feeling. It's like, I always, near the end of the mix, I always imagine I'm the artist. I sit there and I make the changes. And so I don't need to have the artist to come in there and do that anymore, you know? And so if there's any changes, it's gonna be, you know, pretty much right online. It's gonna be minor stuff. It's not gonna be, I don't know how you just have to sit down and imagine, okay, he's sitting behind me. Now try listening to the song with him behind you, even though he's not there. You'll see. Suddenly you go, whoa, 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 what mix is this? So try that.
Yeah, yeah. Or I will try to put a dog or some yeah.
Well, it has to be. It has to be virtual.
Yeah.
You can't have like a
Thank you.
big blow up doll of a producer.
Thank you, Diana. Janочка, just a second, unmuting.
Mute.
Yeah, now unmuted.
Thank you for saying it. I think it's very inspiring. And if you don't mind, I have a couple of questions connected with your experience with mastering engineers. And they are, what do you usually expect from mastering engineers? Do you always use mastering engineers for your projects that you're working on, or sometimes you just, maybe it's scary that they will spoil the vibe or the emotion that was created during the other production processing? And so basically, yes, some words about your experience with the mastering. And do you think it has been changed from what was 10, 15 years ago, and what is going on now with that sort of different spheres of, you know, this new ears that comes in the end of the project? Are they still useful?
I don't think anything has really changed as far as what me as a mixer wants from the mastering engineer. When I give it to the mastering engineer, it's exactly where I want it to be. All right. It's not like, wow, I wish the bass was better. I hope the mastering engineer fixes it. It's exactly the way I want it. And I give them a couple of dB window. So, you know, if like usually plus 12 is pretty much a limit for mastering, I give it to them at 10. So they have 2 dB of dynamics they can play with. I had friends of mine that give it right smack at 12 or 13. Done deal. You know, just master it, get it out, don't touch it. For me, I only use a couple of mastering engineers because a lot of them try to prove themselves and they try to change my mix, or, you know, they don't know how to make things louder without imploding my snare. Like they make it loud and then the snare that had a lot of snap goes boom. Every time you hear the snare, it goes, you know, and so that's not appealing to me because that's not the way I wanted it. I also don't want the bass to be in a different place in the mix than where I gave it to you. So, and because of many master engineers, the depth that I have, there's a certain depth that's in my mixes. And when they master it, somehow they miraculously and with unbelievable expertise remove it. I'm like, that was impressive, but what the fuck was that, right? I don't like that. Give it back to me the way I gave it to you. And if you can improve it, that's awesome. And so, you know, I only use a few people. I mean, I use, you know, Joe Laporta has been pretty much mastering all my stuff all these years, you know, and I've just recently been giving a shot at a couple other people that really, really impressed me, with one guy from down in Nashville. And, you know, but I'm very, very, very careful about who next I'm going to use, because it's you know, I don't have to be worried too much about it. You know, I don't have to think, oh my God, because I'm mixing another album now, I got to stop. I got to focus on what did you do, and the artist is calling me. This, you know, the record sounds awful now, and you know, it's like I don't want to deal with that. So, you know, mastering is quite a black art, because you only have a stereo. You know, what are you going to do with it? And it's just all you want to do is just project what the song is already projecting a little bit better, a little bit louder. And that's very, very difficult. And sometimes what I see, the, you know, miraculous stuff you guys can do is really impressive. But sometimes if you feel obligated to go, you know, you have to do all of this stuff, you know, quite often, like, I don't want it wider. I don't want it more compressed. I don't want the snare loud, you know. So I think listening to what the client wants is really, really important. And then you have to use your psychic abilities, you know. But I don't think much has changed in all the years, except that of the loudness war, you know, just how loud can you get it? And I don't prescribe to that. I do what is competitive, and I don't want to go any further. Last question.
Last question.
Who's gonna say, Daria? Ask.
Daria.
Yes. Thank you for this inspirational conversation. And my question, when I was at Electric Lady, I saw how you did presets for Brauer Motion. I'm a big fan of this plugin. I love it, and I use in my mixes so much. And what is your favorite preset in this plugin?
What is my favorite what?
Preset of this plugin.
Oh, favorite preset? Well, it depends on what I'm using. I mean, I have another 30 or 40 presets that I put in there. So I don't use much of my own, you know. I have presets for every kind of vibe, you know. I mean, I love the tremolo that I have.
Yeah.
Right. But I also, the X and Y, I mean, the X lights, you know, there's so many cool things you can do with that, you know, when it's in time. And then I add that down in the lower left window, you can add that distortion, that special, really warm distortion and stuff. I mean, you can just change sounds so beautifully. And you know, sometimes there'll be a mood that'll go da 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 da. You know, hearing it da 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 da. I want to hear it da 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 da. Right? It's just there's a lot more movement. It's cooler. So I have I have the X and Y setting for I think 16s and 32 second, you know, depending on what it is. And I just set up just enough so it's like, you know, instead of doing this at you, it's going like this at you. So it's fun. I mean, you know, it's a type of plugin that just can solve and address so many cool things. You know, I put everything in it. There's like endless options, and then the 3 or 4 different triggering options. You can have like a loop that's a mono loop, right? And with the triggering, you can have it so that the hi-hat is moving, but the kick and the snare are solid. So you can have a loop that was kind of a boring mono loop that goes suddenly is moving in the stereo, but not everything in it is moving. Just part of it is moving. It's just, you know, it's cool.
Thank
and
you
now
for
I'm coming
this.
up. I'm working on a new one, which is going to be. It's going to be. It's going
Cool.
to be great too. Different.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
I think you know, we've spent a good 2 hours. I hope it helped because, you know, it's pretty scary out there. But you know, this is the time, you know, to see the silver lining in what's going on. And it's very easy to be negative, and we're all going to have days like that. I'm going to have days like that. I mean, days where I'm just scared of shit. And like, okay, but is that going to get me anywhere? You know, this is a good opportunity to really take that break and do other stuff. And you know, I know that you'll get through this, and this will happen again in another 5-10 years. Different thing. It may not be the pandemic. Who knows what the hell it could be, you know? But just remember how you got through it this time, and you'll probably be better at it next time. Or maybe you'll be all freaked out. Who knows? But anyway, that was the point. And that's why, you know, I really enjoyed Ilya's questions last time. You know, Ilya and Roman both know me well. They've seen me, what it's like on, you know, 10 hours a day for 7 days. It's in its intensity. So what I'm saying to them now is like a refresher for them, you know. They've been doing their own thing for many years, and now I'm like reinforcing the very things. I don't think that anything what I'm saying has really changed, right, Roman?
Right, absolutely. But every time it hits me.
Yeah,
it's the reconfirmation that it's just a toy that you have in front of you. It's all about your creativity. What are you going to do with this? And how can you do it in a unique way? When you have each one of you has a unique approach to each one of these emotions. This is the time now when there's nothing else to do but just dig inside and get honest. What can I do? Because each one has the potential to kick ass. But if you don't let anybody see that, remember, you're not the songwriter, most of you. You're the guy who's going to be mixing it or engineering it. So how do you bring your quality up without putting it like a stamp? It's not going to be the same stamp. Like, I'm very transparent. When you listen to different records I've done, you go, look, he mixed that? He makes that? Why? Because it's not about me stamping it. It's me about putting that emotion of that song and what is appropriate for that song. It's not the same EQ and the same bullshit. And, we've talked for 2 hours and I haven't brought up 1 second of an EQ. Why? Because who cares, right? So my phone's blowing up with probably stressful kind of stuff. So I'm going to get back to my life, hidden away in the middle of nowhere. And you guys stay safe, and just take advantage of this time and just, be honest with yourself and just understand that all this will pass. Always will pass. And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much,
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Спасибо, ребята.
Спасибо.
Я тебе
Огромное спасибо.
Всех был рад
Спасибо.
видеть, чуваки.
Взаимно. Надо чаще встречаться таким.
Спасибо
Еще
всем
больше
большое.
заулыбались, еще больше. Хорошо.
Большое.
Так, сейчас мы еще там в YouTube, сейчас я это тоже
Илюк, скидывай карту.